listening to Wake Up.
This is Pastor Neil of the New Covenant Christian Faith Church Ministries, 5427 Murkison Road, and I am proud to be a member of Wake Up.
Ladies, it's your time to shine. Join Faith Tabernacle Christian Center for a weekend of ministry, fellowship, and fun during our Sisters Retreat 2026 in Myrtle Beach, October 2nd through 4th, hosted by Pastor Denise Goings. This wonderful retreat will take place in Myrtle Beach and will include transportation by a chartered coach to and from Myrtle Beach, 2-night stay at a luxurious oceanfront property, 2 meals, several life-changing seminars and workshops throughout the weekend by Pastor Denise Goings and others, t-shirts, door prizes, and much more. All this for the early bird rate of just $300 per person. In a double bedroom with a 2 or 3 bedroom condo, a deposit of at least $75 is needed to register. Registration is open until September 20th, but space is limited. So go online and register now. Don't miss this opportunity to get away and fellowship during this life-changing weekend for ladies only. To register, call 910-865-5252 or visit us online at ftccenter.org.
This is Sarah Alford, and I am the pastor of Joy Fellowship Outreach Ministry located at 18336 Highway 87 West, Tar Heel, North Carolina. And I am excited to be a part of Wake Up.
Bless the Lord. I'm Dr. Ann T. Newell, pastor of the Soul Harvest Apostolic Church, the church not just there in the community, but there for the community of Spring Lake, North Carolina. We're looking for more than a few good men and women to join the team. Iron sharpeneth iron. We may have what you need. You may have what we need. Catch the vision. Join the team.
I'm
Join
Lady
Wake
Patricia
Up.
Campbell, and you are listening to Wake Up.
Welcome and good morning. We're back with you with much more of Wake Up on WIDU, the We Do Radio Network. We're also online, Facebook and YouTube. Be sure to like, share, and comment. And yep, the gents, the gentlemen, the brothers, they do take phone calls, 910-483-6111. This is a call-in talk show. The earlier you call in, the better talk time you get. Don't wait till the last minute. We have one brother that's out away on assignment. MP1 is not with us today, but he'll be back next week. He sends his best, but we have MP2 and MP3. They're going to hold it down today with MP3 Radio Talk Show. They are here ready to give us today's show. Good morning, fellas. We're ready for you. We're ready for MP3 Radio Talk Show. Take it away. Good looking 2 and 3. Good morning.
Good morning, Tammy.
Good morning.
Thank you for that warm intro.
I'm Module Pitts.
I'm Myron Pitts.
And Marshall Pitts is away this week, and we are
MP3. Yeah, so Marshall is...
who knows where he is? Let's not try to justify
We know where he is.
He's not here. That's all we know.
He's taking him and his wife, Jasmine, are taking Miles up to school, Columbia University. They're taking the train. Moving in, first day, all that kind of stuff. I think there was a little bit of delay with the train. You were telling me, mind you, but they're chugging along. I guess the expression is up there to Columbia University. He'll be a freshman there, and we're all proud of him. You know, I think many of you know Miles from on the air. He's sat in for a couple shows and always does a good job.
So now you are a parent twice over now.
Twice over, right?
So now, do those years go by as fast as they seem to us outside lookers? Because I have a picture at home where I was holding Miles.
Yeah,
he was a little bitty fella then.
Yeah.
You know, months. Maybe a year old then, and now all of a sudden he's 18.
Yeah.
He's taller than his father,
Yeah,
which is not saying much, but
right.
he is taller.
He is tall.
He's taller than his father, and now he's
yeah.
going off to school, and it just seemed like them 18 years went by very fast.
Yeah, then the one thing that they tell you is when you first become a parent, Marge, they always say it goes fast, and it's definitely true. My two, me and Sarah's two, started school this week. The rest of the Cumberland County Schools kids, the ones that are on the traditional program schedule. Sam is 13 now, so it's his last year of middle school. He'll be in high school next year. That's hard to get my mind around. And Helen Ann is starting middle school, so it's our first year where they're both out of elementary school. So definitely flies fast. But they've had a pretty good week. It seems like this first week. So I will take that and hold on to it. We are actually going to talk about father and son here. Kind of to me, it's a little bit of a humorous story, though it may not be as humorous to the son in this story. But it comes to us out of Japan.
You know what? I was looking at myself in the camera here, and I think I'm a little smaller on this camera. I might have to take Marshall's seat.
You might have to just move over to that seat.
Put him over there to the big boy camera over there. I think I'm a little slimmer in this camera.
He may not go along with that. He gets attached to things.
He can stand a few pounds.
Right.
He'll be all right over there.
So we're going to talk about a father and son where they were, there was the father and two sons. They were climbing Mount Fiji, which is, a goal of a lot of hikers and so forth. And the younger son got tired. And his father said, okay, you stay here, and me and the older son, we're going up the mountain.
Yeah, we're going on up. Left it. That's some tough parenting there, buddy.
That's some tough parenting there, right. Then we're going to move to a decidedly less humorous set of stories. Target really, I would say, already under boycott by a lot of people in the black community, including myself and my family. But they had a Halloween costume appear on their website that drew a lot of controversy because it's clearly a young boy. It's a blackface costume. I mean, it's just cut to the chase. It was a blackface costume. They pulled it, but there's still ongoing backlash, including from Oscar-winning actress Viola Davis. Just they continue to mess up, and I think it's continue related to not having that diversity. And unrelated, but kind of related, as we will show, the golf merchandise company Callaway, and an affiliate of theirs called Good Golf. They found themselves in the crosshairs after they ran an ad that showed a man pushing a woman to the ground, a very threatening way, because she tried to touch his driver, which, as you know, those of you who know golf, that's the big club. Supposed to be humorous, but there was really nothing funny about the ad, and they had a backlash, and they had to apologize and walked it back. And so we'll talk about a little bit, MP2, how these things continue to happen in the year of 2026, and then time permitting, and that's a very qualified statement today because we have a jam-packed show. We're going to talk about this is a show about backlash, I guess. The backlash against flock cameras. These are the cameras our state legislature here just approved them. They could be used on all state roads, and it just tracks your license plate multiple times depending on where you're driving. And people say it's invasive. I agree. It's surveillance. I agree. And a lot of cities and municipalities are starting to stand up against these things, especially in light of news that many people who should know better in law enforcement are using this technology.
You're supposed to be setting the topics up, not telling us about them.
Using this technology to track people in their personal lives instead of having nothing to do with the law enforcement component.
910-483-6111 is the numbers to call in. 910-483-6111. We're sitting right here at WIDU 1600 AM. That's Fayetteville. WYDU 1160 AM, Red Springs. WAGR 1340 AM, Lumberton. WEWO, WeWo 1460 AM, Laurinburg. If you want to listen to some of those networks, we do radio network, as always, with MP3 Trio. We're now duo to that with the Trio of Talk Radio. 910-483-6111. 910-483-6111.
So Mount Fuji, mind you, is a tall peak. It's gorgeous, obviously. For those of us who just seen the photos in Japan, And this father, and it's a treasure for hikers who like to climb up to the summit.
You're a hiker, right?
No, I'm not a hiker. I
biker
can
or
be a little
something?
outdoors. I used to bike. Yeah, I biked the mountains of
You got
in
a
North
story.
Carolina.
You got to tell your audience about you. Did you get lost or something?
No, I wouldn't say
You
lost.
had to call somebody. you had to call somebody.
Yeah, this was many years ago. I was biking the Sali Trails, TSALI, in western North Carolina, up
Okay.
there near the Boone area, Blowing Rock area, and I underestimated I underestimated how much time it would take me to bike a certain trail. I think it was an 11-mile bike ride. Very nice bike ride. But toward the end, I was about halfway. I pulled out my map. Now, this is the days before GPS, so that kind of dates when this happened. So I didn't have a phone to show me exactly how, but my
No
map.
phone
I had,
or GPS?
I printed out. I had a phone, but it wasn't a smartphone.
Oh, you
right?
you MapQuest and all that
Right,
stuff.
I had a MapQuest. I still have that MapQuest piece of paper. It's all torn up and raggedy now. And then I realized I was about halfway, and I thought I was way beyond that. It was actually a 13-mile trail, and the sun was setting. And what happened is I got caught in the dark. Night fell. Of course, it's a trail, so there's no street lights or anything out there. So, and just as a precaution, I was kind of making, because I was using my flip phone at the time, using the light from that, the flashlight, but that was dying. So again, we didn't have all the high tech we have
This sounds
now.
like a horror movie.
Your potential. Your potential. I
Dark,
was out there solo.
phone not working.
And a lot of people will not ride solo bike rides for long distances like that. In any case, I went ahead and called, said, hey, I'm out here, you know, might want to send someone. And I got off my bike because, you know, you're not trying to go fast when you can't have C. So it was a very stumpy trail, too, if I recall. Beautiful trail otherwise, though. So I walked it on down. Just as I was coming out of the woods, the law enforcement had come out. The rangers had just met me there at the bottom of the trail. So I was able to get out, but I called them as a precaution. And one question they asked me, it struck me as funny. Is like, first of all, they told me this happens a lot. So I'm not surprised. That made me feel a little bit better. But they was like, hey, you ever been lost before? I was like, well, I hadn't really thought about that. I'm probably not since a kid. But I don't consider myself as having been lost. I called them as a precaution in
You were
case
lost.
I got lost. But I
You
knew
were
where I
lost.
was going. I used to have enough light.
If you did not, the very definition of lost is not knowing where you're at and where you're and how to get back to where you want to go. But so, what did you call, like a park service or 911?
I can't remember, but probably 911. And they've encountered that in the mountains
Oh,
a
yeah,
lot.
no
So they
doubt.
probably transferred the call right over
doubt.
to the parks
There's
people.
so much
And they
planning.
responded pretty quickly, I got to say
And there's
that.
so much planning that would have to go into something like that. If you get lost, do you have, or get trapped,
Yeah.
or get stuck,
Yeah.
or get injured,
Which
you
does
know,
happen. All of those have
whatever
happened.
one of those things that could happen. Do you
Yeah.
have enough food? Do you got enough water?
Right.
Do you know where you are? All
Yeah.
of those type things. When night falls, and you know, even when you're driving,
Yeah.
things look different at night.
It does.
Than
It
they
does.
do during the day.
Yeah.
What might not be so ominous or something in the daytime,
Right.
when night start to fall, when you can't see but a couple of feet in front
Yeah.
of you, and like you said, it's not like night. I'm assuming that it's not like night
Yeah.
in the city.
Yeah.
It's night in the woods.
And of
So
course,
it's dark.
Of course, you hear every sound known to humankind. I mean, you just hear all kinds of night stuff, like branches rustling, you know, things going across the trail. You don't know what it is, but you know, I just kept on pushing it. So, and I'm here to tell the story.
But you were an adult then.
Oh yeah. I
Okay,
was
so
in my
you could
20s.
imagine how in this story that we have, where this
Yeah.
guy was him and his two sons.
That's right.
They're
that's
on
right.
the way up Mount Fuji. I don't know
Mount
how
Fuji.
high Mount Fuji is,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
it's up there. I'm assuming.
Yeah.
And because the reason why you know it's up there, because they got several different stages.
Yeah, and they have little stations
Right.
where people can stop. So they were up, and the sons, by the way,
Were 12 and
was
7.
and one was, they say, about 12 or 13.
12 or 13,
So,
right.
The younger boy, the
Wonder why they were
7-year-old,
suspect on his age.
I'm not sure. The younger boy, he became tired around the 6th of those stations we were talking about, and that was 8,000 feet above sea level. So you're already kind of up there. The father told the child to, quote, wait here, and continue climbing with the older son. Now let's pause right there.
7 years old.
why would he even tell the son to wait? Why not just, okay, you're tired, we'll stop, we'll head on back? What's your theories on that?
I don't have any theory as to why, except other than he was only concerned about having to make it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm thinking, and again, I asked you guys before the show, what nationality they were. I don't know if they were Asian. I don't know if they were American. I don't know. I think that kind of makes a difference too, because like I told y'all in the text message, sometimes some parents raise their kids to be a little tougher. Even at 7 years old, they might raise the kids to be a little tougher.
Right.
The boy, according to once he was they went on and they were at stage 8 trying to make it to stage 8.
So he kept went on, and they said if he had gone all the way to the summit and come back, that would have been 7.5 hours.
He would have left
that 7-year-old there up in the mountains, 8,000 feet up. But what happened, like he said, at stage, a worker, someone who works there, they call a mountain hut there. He found the 7-year-old boy sitting on a bench, 7:40 a.m. in the morning.
That was the other thing.
Yeah.
He
left him at 4:30 a.m.
He left him
night.
at 4:30, black dark outside.
Yeah.
You leave a 7-year-old sitting on a tree or whatever, bench, whatever he was sitting on, and you decide you're gonna go, and by the time they found him, it was 7:30.
I think it was the mountain there got to this father's head there.
No, he's just a. Listen. This I feel the same way about when you have a father, and then you have kids. You have to know, Myron, and you've got kids. Similar to these ages. Now, a little older your kids are. But Marshall has kids. I mean, you would think to yourself, if your 7-year-old tells you he's tired and he can't go any further, the last option I would think would be leaving him there.
What I suspect, this dad wanted to reach that summit.
No doubt.
That's all I'm trying to get into his head, and it may have been a life goal of his, what they call a bucket list. The other boy was still good to go. I would also say maybe he had a little more confidence or faith in his 7-year-old than a parent should have for someone that age. Because it also said rain was falling and a fog was coming in when the child was found.
Because they said that
both of those raised concerns about the conditions on the mountain, which can change.
It can change quickly. That was one of the things they said. So you think he had a lot more confidence? Listen, first of all, we know he had confidence in both the boys. Because they going up 8, 9, 10,000 square feet.
Even that, a lot of people wouldn't do. Right, that's a good point.
Even for a skilled adult hiker, I mean, that's a challenging hike.
Yeah.
And so, so for him, so obviously he had a lot of confidence.
Yeah.
But do you have enough confidence in a 7-year-old? Listen, first of all, let's just take the 7-year-old out of it, Myron. I'm not leaving anybody behind.
Right.
I'm not going to say
even another adult.
Even another adult. Yeah. We just going to hold tight until you're ready.
I might leave another adult, man. If he had adequate provisions. Nah, I wouldn't do that.
And see what I'm saying? And then you're leaving them behind by themselves.
At 4:30 a.m.
At 4:30 a.m. Now, if the mother was with them or, another adult, and you decide to leave them, an adult decide to stay back, that's one thing.
Yeah.
But you leave a 7-year-old at 4:30 a.m.
Yeah.
And then his excuse was, I just wasn't thinking. No, you were thinking.
He says, quote, the police told him, reprimanded him, they say. Apparently, I don't think he was necessarily charged. And the child was unharmed, so that's the good part. That's one of the good parts of the story. They told him it's unacceptable to leave a child in this situation, even if it meant abandoning the climb. The father reportedly told police, quote, I made a rash decision, and I deeply regret it. Police also urged hiking groups to stay together and plan their pace, listen to this, MP2, around the person with the least stamina.
All day. All day. You have a 7-year-old and you got an adult or two, and you got a 12-year-old. Quite naturally, in most cases, the 12-year-old is going to have a little bit more stamina than the 7-year-old.
In most cases, right.
In most cases. Not all the time, but in most cases. And so you're going to plan your trip, stopping, eating.
Right.
Having around the person who is least likely to be able, to get tired quicker or, those type things. And so but he was not going to come back, MP3, even after the police called him.
Yeah.
If you look at what his response was, he was just trying to make it to. They
Yeah.
had to say, "No, you need to come back
Demanding
and
he
get
come
your
back.
son.
Right.
You need to come back and get your son."
So we're beyond kind of a rash decision
Yeah.
at that point.
Yeah.
And what I would say, I'm not defending the guy, but maybe at that point he thought, well, the son's with the police. Nothing's going to happen to him. So let me go ahead and finish the climb. The police, and rightly so, demanded that he come back. So
Now you think about how awful a story this would have been
If something had happened to the
had happened
boy.
to this little
Yeah.
7-year-old kid. This
Yeah.
would have been an awful story.
That's
now, I'm
right.
not assuming that, I don't know whether this man is married or not, but you can't go home to your wife after that.
yeah, you have to.
If something happens to your little 7-year-old
You have to,
child
yeah.
out there, I mean, that would be a
that's
mess.
right. So we're glad we can, it's kind of a lighter story, but only because nothing happened to the kid. Authorities had not. I said he hadn't been charged. They may still be deciding. They haven't indicated whether he would face
should be.
formal charges or penalties. At least some kind of something.
Some kind of neglect or something.
Yeah,
like
so
that.
some
I
kind
mean,
of
I'm not
thing.
saying
You
you
need
need
to
to put in
ruin his
jail or
life,
anything like that.
yeah,
But I would listen. If you're gonna have and you're gonna make that type of decision based on your kids, on your 2 kids, this is a father that you would never Marshall would
take-
never leave your kids with his kid. This father.
No, not even for a birthday party.
Not even a birthday party. So this is the type of dude that's gonna make decisions based on his or her own
Yeah.
his own
Yeah.
needs,
Yeah.
and he gonna keep moving.
That's
You
right.
know, and then
That's
worry
right.
about your kids because he
Later.
worried about his own kids later. He's
Yeah.
gonna worry about your kids later too.
The one thing I would say is that in terms of the stamina piece, before we leave this topic, sometimes kids and adults too, but definitely children, because they're still forming, everything is still forming. Sometimes they can throw you for a loop. So maybe in the past, in the recent past, this 7-year-old has been the one with the most stamina. Maybe that's why he felt he could take a 7-year-old along, because he was maybe ahead of his age in terms of what he could endure. And maybe I'm making excuses for the dad because I
As
think
I
you
said,
told me
but-
before the story.
As I said before the show, you're trying to make it make sense.
Right, and it doesn't. Right.
It just doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense
Yeah.
that he would leave his 7-year-old for what would have been almost 8 hours.
Yeah, I know.
Almost
I know.
8 hours alone.
Yeah.
On a mountain.
That's
So we're not even
pretty
talking
wild.
about. We're not even talking. Now, did he leave him with food, rations, water?
It's not clear from the story. It doesn't sound like, to be honest.
Yeah. So did he leave him with anything else? Did he have? Did
An
he was-
umbrella,
A phone. A phone so
tarp.
he could call somebody.
Yeah.
Something.
Yeah.
He leave with. It sounds like he said, "Wait right here, little fella. We'll
Yeah.
be back."
I'm wondering, unlike my experience in the North Carolina mountains now, of course, we do have smartphones. I wonder if he at least left them with some kind of smartphone. Either way, he shouldn't have left them. So I'm glad all's well that ends well, and let's hope the father has learned a valuable lesson. Speaking of things that don't make sense, we got a couple more coming your way. Target, mind you, now, as you know, the boycott is still on, as far as I'm concerned. Target sprinted away from all of its diversity, equity, and inclusion commitments at the first hint of trouble from the Trump administration last year. And Target, what made them a target, so to speak, of the black community is that they had actually had some pretty deep commitments to our community. They were selling goods from. They reached out to black entrepreneurs and businesses, put their goods on the shelf, reflected DEI policies and hiring, and was really had been rewarded, I would say, by a healthy patronage from the black middle class and above. A lot of African Americans are huge Target fans, including the MP who is absent today, MP1, and his family. But so to see them just drop it all, just because they felt they may be threatened by the Trump administration was very disappointing, and they've never really made amends over that. So fast forward to now, it's been a year on, more than a year, pushing 2 years in fact, and people found on their website this costume that it's hard to describe. Please go on the internet on one of those smartphones we all now have and take a look at it. It's an orange and black costume. The mask has this wide toothy grin, black, face.
Blackface.
It is blackface. It is the Sambo image. It's every stereotype
Stepping
that's
and fetching,
been
all
stepping
that
and fetching. Every stereotype that's been hung upon our shoulders for decades now. And there it is, in plain as day. And as a matter of fact, there's even some people who found the old blackface image where when they did the blackface, it wasn't even just how the face looked, it's how they posed the characters in these sort of unreal positions.
Yeah.
And the character from Target was like that too. And this is supposed to be a Halloween costume for children, for kids. So it tore up, it blazed through social media, Nigel, and Target took it down when they found out about it, or when they were told about it, or reminded about it, I guess you can say.
So nothing could
and
be
then
on.
they issued some apology that a lot of people just aren't accepting.
Well, it's because sometimes people will give you some grace if you don't have a history.
Right.
And so Target has a history of doing this type of thing when they were faced with the DEI. Then they just dropped all the DEI programs and those type of things. So, but someone had to approve that, Myron.
Let me one more before you. Let me throw in one more thing. The costume was marketed as, quote, "kids glows under black light circus clown Halloween costume."
Mm-hmm.
That's how they advertised it.
So you got a blackface clowning.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's what you have.
Exactly.
And skinning and grinning,
Skinny
teeth
and grinning.
showing,
Yeah.
and all of those type things that mark a buffoonery.
Yeah.
When it comes to black folks.
Yeah.
And someone had to approve that being on their website. And see that's the part that gets to me. Someone had to look at that and say, "Oh, there's nothing wrong with this.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Right.
It's all right." So I want to know who that person was.
Yeah.
That's
Or
what I
a
want to
group
know.
of people.
The apology is not good enough.
Let's hear the apology.
This person should not be in that position.
Employed. Right.
Yeah, they can be employed,
that
but they can't be employed in anything that has to do with website or
Yeah.
because they are tone deaf.
Yeah.
If they now, it could be.
I don't even know if I want that person sweeping up around the place.
Because they might run into anything.
Right.
They don't know when they see something that this is inappropriate.
They don't have sound judgment.
They don't have sound.
Right.
This is no different. That father is the same one. Doesn't have sound judgment in that last
Maybe
story.
that's the theme here.
You don't have sound judgment. You look at something and you say, "I would like to think that if I saw something that was offensive to a whole group of people, that I would like to say to myself, we shouldn't be showing this.
Yeah.
We shouldn't be having this depicted in any way,
Yeah.
anything to do with our company or our website."
Right.
And
So
then they
this is
issued
their
a bogus
apology. So
apology.
you see if you accept this, Maja. Maybe you do.
No, I don't.
Well, let's hear it first.
No,
I know you
I
read
don't.
it in the story. But Target says, "As a company, we know we got this wrong, and we are deeply sorry." They shared that in a statement. This was released Monday, so this all broke this week. Quote, "The costume is offensive and should never have been part of our assortment. It is no longer available for sale. We know this is especially hurtful for our black guest team members and partners." And says, "Removing the costume is an important first step." This is Target still talking in their statement. "And the company is looking closely at how this happened and what needs to change to ensure this won't happen again."
So now there's the statement. There's
That's
a
the
statement from
statement.
Target. That's what they give when they want something to what? Blow over.
Yeah.
They want you. They want the American consumer.
Right.
That's what we're talking about. Because let's not think for a second
Yeah.
that Target cares how black people feel about blackface. They
Yeah.
don't.
Yeah.
They don't care about that. What they care about is where we spend our money.
Right.
Is where people, not just black people, people
They'll
who
still-
are offended by this.
Correct, correct.
Blacks, whites, whoever's offended
And that's a
by
good
this.
point. It's not just
Yeah,
African
it's not just
Americans
African
who are
Americans that are
by it.
offended by it. Whoever's offended by this, they care about where you spend your money. The
Yeah.
bottom line is what they care about. So, what are they going to reveal to us, Myron? What the next steps are? Are they going to tell us what the next? Are they going to be transparent about what the next steps is? The person, I wouldn't give this person's name because now this person's going to face all kind of backlash.
Yeah.
But I would let the public know we have found out the person or the people or the board or panel, whoever, that revealed that thought this was okay, and we have addressed them in whatever way they're going to address them. Now, in my mind, you say they should be fired. I don't know, but what I do know, they should not be allowed to be judged about what goes on the website anymore. They shouldn't be in that position anymore.
Yeah, and there needs to be training probably throughout the company to avoid scenarios like this. Target actually was having a pretty decent run. They did replace their CEO.
Finally bouncing back.
They've had 2 back-to-back strong quarters, but as was pointed out by an analyst here who looks at retail, he says as Target begins to gain traction in repairing its brand reputation, this is exactly the kind of stuff they want to avoid. And I saw, we don't have it in this package, but I saw Forbes, which covers business and so forth. It said it's already affected Target stock prices. This analyst was saying there's no room for error. Now, of course, a lot of the social media commentary has been, is this happening, Target, because you rolled back your diversity efforts? In other words, people are asking, or people are assuming, and I throw myself in there too, there's probably not a black person or anyone like that in the room when this costume was okay.
There's no probably to it. I would hope. If I was in that room as a black person and you approved this, then that says a lot about that black person.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking about the black people who might would say that was okay. Maybe a Clarence Thomas or somebody like that might would say that was okay. And even that's a stretch.
Yeah.
Even that's a stretch. So I don't know. I don't know who would be in that room, diverse person who would be in that room. So now
that's a good metric. If something is so offensive that even Clarence Thomas will find it offensive.
And that would have to be pretty offensive. It would have to be something pretty
always
offensive
say
for him to find it was offensive.
Yeah, I've said this on MP3. The one time that he definitively sided with African Americans on a legal case on the court, and we've talked about this, is the issue of cross burning. That it was an act of terror. It wasn't just a decoration. I think the case was out of Virginia, and he did side with us on that issue. But that's the kind of thing it would take. And I think this goes into the same type era. It goes into the same diminishment of blacks, of African Americans as people. As someone, posted, and I didn't know this when I said this, but I mentioned the pose one person said about it. Even the pose they put the kid in is crazy. The conception of this,
he's stepping the veteran.
Just the conception of this costume, it was intended to be racist. So it was intended to reference the minstrel shows and all of that.
So now I wonder, maybe it takes one more incident. I don't really know. So I'm hesitant to say this, but maybe Target and the people who are ownership and in charge of Target, maybe, Myra, they're racist.
Could be.
It could be something where it's not just people making bad decisions. It's people that have certain feelings about black people.
Yeah.
And so as long as they can continue to bounce back, so when we say Target's bottom line has been affected, Target is making billions of dollars. So let's not. They're not getting ready to go out of business.
Don't weep for Target. As a matter of fact, they're building a new one in Fayetteville.
Right. They're not getting ready to go out of business. Target will be fine. They're gonna be okay.
Right.
But I wonder, is it some? I can't remember the restaurant, Myron. Wasn't there a restaurant that was kind of had that Denny's?
Yeah,
that's exactly right. Had that racist tag placed on them.
Yeah.
And I know I don't eat at Denny's.
Haven't eaten there
Denny's
since
still around.
Yeah, they are.
Denny's still around. So. And
Denny's.
they had that racist tag put on them. Another one was some clothing guy. He'll figure maybe somebody. I don't know who
that
it was.
That he did have that, but that turned out to be a hoax.
Turned out to be a hoax.
Yeah,
right.
But Denny's is one that definitely comes to mind.
Yeah.
And Cracker Barrel has had some issues as well.
Some issues. So when you look at, so it might just be, they keep running into this same problem. and so when you, and so if it looks like a duck, quacks like a duck, it might be a duck.
Yeah.
So this is the second time we've had. They showed that they didn't care about the diversity, equity, and inclusion because they got rid of that stuff.
It was just for show.
It was just for show.
Yeah.
They were just trying to. And again, what we do know that Target cares about, we do know this: they care about the bottom line.
They care about the bottom line.
And so now it doesn't do it when I tell you that I haven't shopped at Target. It doesn't really matter because I didn't shop at Target before.
Yeah.
Sometimes I might get dragged in there
Yeah.
by someone else, but I'm not just going. I'm not just going into Target.
Right.
That's the bottom line.
Yeah, and of the three of us, of the MPs, the trio of talk radio, the biggest loss for Target was MP1.
Yeah,
because he loved.
He was a
Target.
he was a regular.
Yeah, he was a regular shopper. I would go in there probably. I don't know. I have to ask my wife. I'm not sure, but I would say maybe 4 or 5 times a year for things I couldn't get elsewhere. Very specific items.
So now,
that
why
went
is
from
it
3 or 4 times to 0?
Target's rivals?
They consider
Walmart and Costco and them. They're considered, although they are much bigger.
Right.
They've got much more stores. But why don't they make these mistakes?
like a Walmart
why don't Walmart or Costco making a mistake that Target? Walmart didn't have any problem. They sidestepped the DEI stuff and kept going.
They kind of sidestepped it. Costco went actually, in fact, the other way. I mean, they actually took a board vote on whether or not they were going to stop DEI, and I think it was unanimous. Definitely not.
Right.
We're staying with it, and in fact, they have been enjoying very good revenue ever since then. So that they didn't play the game at all. Walmart was kind of much more hesitant about it, but Walmart has an insulation that Target does not, in that Walmart is much cheaper than Target. Anyone who shopped at both places can tell you they sell similar goods, but Walmart's just cheaper. And so, as with Dollar General and places like that, there's a need that a lot of people who are shopping there, it's not just so they can bargain shop, it's what they can afford. So a lot of their shoppers are there out of pure necessity. Target is a little bit step up from that, and then it becomes a choice. Like, I don't have to be at Target. Like, for instance, I think I was in Target once since the boycott. I'll confess that. There was something I couldn't find any place else locally. I did get something. So I crossed that boycott picket line once.
Did you need it? Whatever
Can't
it was.
even remember. So how important was it? It was something for the kids, though. So it was important at the time.
Gotcha.
But, you know, barring something like that, I really haven't missed it. I haven't missed it. And I think a lot of folks in the African-American community can say the same. There's some people who just liked it and enjoyed shopping there. So they missed that experience. But in terms of the goods on the shelf, with so many options, including, not to mention Amazon, you don't have to go into a Target. You can find your goods elsewhere. So I think that's what's caught up with them. So while we're on this questionable decision making, or let's just say bad decision making,
no, it's not questionable. It's bad. You're right.
Bad decision making.
It's not questionable.
So now we turn to golf. Callaway is a so my wife says, and I feel vindicated, she says I had a gift card and it was for Helen Ann. So gift card, the money's spent. So it's not me spending the money.
You still had to go. You should have tore it up.
Not
tore up the gift
money,
card. You should have cut it in half.
So so that's what it was. Thank you, Sarah,
Gotcha.
for that. I feel vindicated. Callaway makes golf goods. Golfers would know them. They're a pretty recognizable brand.
Yeah.
And they have a partnership, mind you, with a newer company, a startup called Good Golf, GOOD, Good Golf. And as part of that arrangement, Good Golf produced an ad, and it showed. Let's just be blunt. It showed violence against the woman.
It's a social media, YouTube,
right? Social media campaign,
and all that kind of stuff, and shows.
Describe the ad for me.
Yeah, it shows. Okay, so this guy Callaway Golf makes golf clubs and golf bags and balls and all that kind of stuff.
And this particular club was one branded Good Golf, was their partner.
Right, that's part of their party. So it's a club that you're supposed to like. So that's what they're advertising. And so they've got two people standing together. I haven't seen it. This is the way it was described. Which makes it much more worse.
Yeah.
I can imagine if I'm visualizing. But
yeah.
So and they're standing next to a golf bag.
Yeah.
Where you get your clubs out.
That's
of.
right.
You get ready to try to choose a club of whatever shot you're trying to make in golf.
And it was the driver.
It was the
so
driver.
They were driving off the tee.
So
right.
the lady is a man and a woman.
Yeah.
The lady reaches for the driver.
And you didn't, I don't know if it described this in the description, but I saw the video, and she was in golf clubs, so she was golfing with everybody else.
She was golfing.
Right.
She was a golfer too. So they
the rest of them were men.
Yeah, the rest of them were men. And so she reaches for a golf club. She reaches for that driver. And he shoves her down.
Yeah.
He shoves her to the ground and stands over her. And it says something along the lines of, don't touch my driver. Don't touch my driver.
Right.
And so now, with all of this going on in the Me Too movement, and all the things going on in the world when it comes to violence against women now, what idiot would think that was a good commercial? I mean,
or
what
a room full of idiots.
What person would say, you know what, this is listen,
yeah,
Myron,
yeah.
As I said before the show, before we came on the air, somebody would have said something about that if there had been two men. They would have said, there's some violence. I mean, why would you be having? It wouldn't might not have had the effect that it has now.
Yeah.
But it still would. Somebody would have said something about it. You shoving another man to the ground over a golf club and standing over him in a aggressive manner, and so, but it's a woman.
Yeah.
And so now that makes it. Who looked at that? A room full of men. Okay, let me take that back. I hope.
Yeah.
I hope that was a room full of men saying to themselves, this is okay. It's funny. And it wasn't funny.
And a specific type of room full of men. Because you could take the MPs and the pastors and such in the show before us. We could have looked at that and we would have killed that spot. I was like, no, we're not doing that, fellas. So we don't know how it was in the room. This is a company. I've seen pictures of the leadership of this company. It's all white dudes is what it is. Now, I think the woman in the shot, I believe she is an employee of Good Golf, so she participated. But having watched the video, it was as Nigel described. The only thing I would add, Nigel, is that the men were in the background as she reached for this driver. The guy who eventually pushed her sprinted up to where she was, pushed her down, leaned over, as you said, and then said, "Don't touch my driver." And there wasn't a smile on his face. She was not smiling. They may have made a case it was comedy or humorous if they were both laughing. I think it still would fail as an ad, and I think it still glorifies violence, domestic violence in particular. But nobody was smiling. He was standing over her, leering at her with a serious expression. And then I didn't see initially the whole ad. After that, he takes the driver, hits the ball off the tee, and as he's walking away, he tosses the driver to the side. The same club that he had, pushed this woman down for. So it was a bad ad. It was a terrible ad. Like the Halloween costume, it received a huge backlash online. Callaway did not produce this ad, but they're partners with Good Golf. So both companies wound up apologizing. And it's important to note that though they didn't produce the ad, Callaway acknowledges they saw the ad and green-lighted it. So we're talking two sets of people.
Two sets of
green light this ad.
Right? Two sets of idiots. That's all. Right. It's like the Target people. I mean, it's two sets of idiots.
Right.
You got people watching something and saying that that's okay.
Yeah, and then what
a room full of folks.
Yeah.
And you say Good Golf got several people. Callaway. See, that to me, that's just as bad. That's worse than the blackface, because at least they got just Target people watching.
Yeah.
You got two sets of different folks watching the same thing and thinking that's funny, or thinking it's okay to put that up there.
Yeah, that was posted August 21st before it was taken down. If you already have your cell phones out to look for the Target costume, there's still video of this available, even though Good Golf and Callaway, of course, took it down. Once it's out there, it's out there. That's also a good message for kids to keep in mind. Once it's out there on the internet, it's out there. So they dropped the partnership, Callaway of Good Golf. By then, though, already there's a ESPN deal that was tied up into that. That's all over with now. So some sponsorships have dropped. Callaway has said they're going to look at their internal review process. Who does this sound like? Sounds like Target, right? They said it had not been comprehensive enough and said it had taken, quote, appropriate internal corrective actions.
That means nothing.
That means absolutely nothing. That's what they call corporate speak. And I've worked for a corporation a good part of my career, early part and currently. That's corporate speak.
Tell me, I can tell you from someone who's been in management, when someone calls me and says, something about something that I really don't care about, I just want it to go away.
Yeah.
I'll say, we're looking into it.
Yeah.
That's what they're saying. We're going to look into it. All right, hey, we're going to look into it and take the appropriate measures.
Right. And
when you hear that means nothing's going to happen.
It sounds to me like they're saying that not only have they looked into it, but they've already taken those measures, which the video came out August 21st. Now, what could they have done much in those few days? Nothing. And they said they've even strengthened their approval process. Quote, over the past several days.
Who is this, Callaway or Good
This is
Golf?
Callaway. We have listened and reflected deeply on the hurt and disappointment caused by the video we reposted.
That's another thing, too. Someone else writes the statements for them. Like we said,
Yes, sir. They pay a professional.
A media person.
Right. There's someone like me,
That's not
except
coming
in
from
the
heart.
marketing side.
It
right?
sounds good, though.
Yeah, I would advise anyone in a scandal like this to pay professionals to write this.
Correct.
Quote, we heard from individuals who shared personal experiences related to violence against women, and their stories were powerful reminders that this issue touches the lives of far too many people. Then they go on to say they unequivocally against violence for women. Now, Good Golf released its own statement. Remember, there are two sets of people who looked at this video, and the co-founder of the company, Garrett Clark, says in his own video, he apologized. That was Wednesday night, saying he hopes we can move on amid continued fallout.
That's a bad statement. He need a media person.
Never say that. Yeah, never say that.
That definitely should be your first statement.
Right, yeah. Certainly not in the apology statement. The best kind of apology is just a pure apology. I was wrong, and variations on that theme. That's what that apology needs to be. So Callaway, which approved the ad, they said they would donate, it's all part of cleanup operations, $1 million to organizations working to prevent violence against women and support survivors of domestic violence. Now, to me, Nigel, I don't know, the money, when in an era where we're talking about there's actually an occasional trillionaire out there, $1 million does not sound like a lot of money.
Who's saying they're giving that? Callaway or
Callaway
Good?
is saying they're giving $1 million. I don't think Good Golf is giving anything right now.
I wonder to myself, because I don't know what Callaway, how much kind of money. I'm assuming they make a lot of money, but I'm not sure how much money. But I'm wondering why Target didn't offer any money like that too. Like in other words, Target should be saying like we're going to give $1 billion to these
HBCUs.
Yeah, $1 billion. Not $1 million. Target should be saying $1 million. Now, if Target would say
it's best not to say anything if they come in at $1 million.
If they're going to come with $1 million, they've got to come with at least $500 million for somebody to say, oh, they really mean it. But no, $1 million would not do anything.
Yeah.
But what people are looking for at this point is not money. Like you were getting ready to say. They're looking for some type of sincerity. They're looking for someone to say, this was wrong, and this is how we're going to address them.
Right.
There's going to be no follow-up on either one of these. We're not going to hear anything else from
They're going to try to ride it out.
Callaway or Target about any of this. But even more importantly, Myron, it's just it's almost like you and I and MP1 and others that we know, we live in one world. And these people that make these decisions, they live in a whole other world.
Yeah.
Because in the middle of, at the tail end of, middle of, what you want to call it, the Me Too movement, in the middle of diversity, equity, inclusion, and all these kind of fights like this, Target makes those type of decisions.
Yeah.
Good Golf and Callaway makes those type of decisions. It's almost like they don't, either they don't know, like they said in Friday, Cube said at the end of Friday, they either don't know or they don't care.
Right.
One,
Right.
one of the two. Because
Yeah.
I mean, I would not imagine they wouldn't know.
Yeah.
But maybe they don't, because I
Well,
don't. I look in the case of Good Golf, Good and Callaway. I don't know whether they really know or not. Golf.
I think they don't know.
Yeah, in golf,
Yeah.
that is a still majority white male sport.
That's the point I was going to
Right.
make. It is a very insular and clubby community.
But Target's not.
What you talk about, you remember one of the big controversies in golf was the Masters tournament. They wouldn't even let a woman join the club.
Still don't.
They still don't. So that's the kind of
They
community.
took such a stance,
Yeah.
and they make so much money at the
Yeah.
Masters that they cut out all of the commercials.
They cut out all the commercials.
You don't
Right.
want to sponsor us? We'll just go with you. With
That's
private
how
endorse-
strongly they are against a woman belonging to that club.
Correct.
Right. So I can understand. You're right, Maj. I can kind of understand. I'm not justifying it, but they've had a problem. They've been problematic for forever. I mean, honestly, you had your Tiger Woods, but if he wasn't Tiger Woods, there's many clubs, courses he would never be able to play.
Correct.
Even now in 2026, Target, and is a different beast. Now it's different owners than the founders, because when they abandoned DEI. By the way, let me throw in here. I think you got a bus coming my way, and I've been thrown under it. My Sarah said she actually didn't agree with that decision that I made over the card. So she says I didn't agree though. But anyway,
That you should have used the card.
that I should have used the card.
She
felt
said
it
you
was,
should or should not.
should not.
Yeah. Well, Sarah's always been the smartest one of y'all too. So this just proves it again. So, but
so the two of the daughters of the founder, they actually released a statement shortly after Target abandoned its promises and commitments, and saying they didn't agree with that at all. They didn't reflect the spirit of the company. It's a Minneapolis, company, a founded company. Minnesota's progressive state in many ways. Of course, Tim Walz, the governor there, was Kamala Harris's vice president. Vice presidential nominee Walter Mondale was Jimmy Carter's vice presidential nominee.
Can you really trust?
So there's a it's kind of in their DNA, and so it's under new.
Yeah,
not
but didn't
new,
they
I
also?
think
But
they've
didn't
sold it a while
Minnesota
back.
also have Governor Jesse the Body Ventura?
They did, right.
Can't really trust anybody who knows. Who was like the wrestler?
Yeah.
But anyway, that's neither here
One
nor
term.
there. So my thing is that this is where, and so people ask you, do you need DEI?
Mm-hmm.
You need DEI for no other reason, because if you don't have DEI, you lose money.
That's right.
Bottom line,
Yeah.
if you're not aware,
Yeah.
if you don't have a certain awareness around yourself,
Yeah.
you lose. And these companies continue to lose money. There's no sense that Target should be losing money, and Stockfall. There's no sense for Good Golf, whoever
Yeah.
that is,
Yeah.
and Callaway to be losing money,
Yeah.
but they don't have any DEI. No one
That's
to
right.
tell them this is wrong.
That's right.
We shouldn't
and,
do this.
And
It costs them money every time.
yeah, and I think people tend to, that's very excellent points. People tend to think of diversity and inclusion as this sort of feel-good thing. And it can be. It certainly can. And there is an emotional and even a moral component to it. But from corporate perspective and companies' perspective, even small companies and small businesses, all the studies show, they've studied this issue. You are better when you have a diverse labor force. You're just better. You're a better company. And you can sort of see why. Look how diverse the country is. So you got a country with I don't know how many different ethnicities, cultures, different languages, races. It makes no sense in the year of our Lord 2026 to have a boardroom or any decision-making room with all white faces in it. It doesn't help you, and in fact, it hurts you in the cases like we just talked about.
Even if you don't have paid people,
Mm-hmm.
even if you should have a big company like Target should have some type of community board.
Yeah,
And
that's right.
that are looking at all of
And
these
there's
issues
a number
and
of people who
advising
would
you.
love to serve on something like that.
And you're not paying them people a nickel.
Right.
It's the same way with Good Golf, Callaway,
Yeah.
whoever.
Yeah.
You gotta have some people. Listen, I've worked in environments where you had mostly males.
Yeah.
mostly women or mostly whites and mostly blacks. And anytime you have mostly something, it's bad.
Yeah, yeah.
You're getting one set of opinions about
Right.
whatever it is.
That's right.
You've got to have someone else in the room to say, I think the way that I think. And then the next person is going to think someone, and then someone else will come and say, no, why are we releasing this commercial?
Yeah.
Why are we addressing this situation this way? Why are
Right.
you got to have someone else who doesn't think like you, wasn't raised like you, doesn't look at the world like you do. In golf, they look at it one way.
Yeah.
They look at it from the white male perspective.
Right.
So when you talk about shoving a woman down, that's
Over
okay.
a driver.
Over
a club.
Over a club. That's perfectly fine. It was fun. When they all looked at it, they probably laughed.
They probably had a big laugh
They
about
probably
it.
thought that was funny.
And see, to me, I was like, there's just nothing funny about that. But that's my perspective. They have a different, much more insular perspective. So before we wrap up here, how would you recommend someone like a Target or a Callaway? What's the proper way? Because I think we can both agree those apologies didn't really mean a lot.
No.
They're pro forma, they're what you would expect. How should they have addressed this thing?
One, they've got to get some different people in the room. That's how you start. And then
It's
let
real inclusion.
us know who those different people are. They're not names, but groups of people that you have allowed to be on your board.
Right.
To be, whether it be paid or non-paid.
Right.
To be on your board. These are the people we run things by when we have commercials, advertisements, or when we do something that's going to be and see, the thing about it, they didn't even look at this as being risky. That's the part that's scary. They didn't even think that was risky to show something.
They put it out on their most popular YouTube platform.
Yeah, so they
Yeah.
didn't look at it as being risk. Target didn't look at it as being risky until someone called it to their attention. So you got to have that. Second, though, but probably more important, you have got to be able to show the people how you address this incident,
Right.
not how you gonna go forward. How
Yeah.
you address this incident. This person or people that approve this, they can't be in those jobs.
Yeah.
They're tone deaf.
Yeah.
They can't. You got to have. And if I'm a CEO of good golf, and I was in the room when they made that, I'm gonna take myself out of that. I'm gonna let somebody else. I'm gonna say, look, I need to bring in somebody else. I didn't think anything was wrong with it.
Yeah.
But since someone else thought it was wrong, then maybe I'm not the one to be judging these commercials,
Right.
these advertisements.
Good
because
point.
and the reason why is not because you care about black people. It's not because you care about women.
Yeah.
Your bottom line is being affected by this.
Negatively.
And I don't want. And that's one thing that's universal. White males, white females, black males. Money is universal.
Especially
and
in
I don't
America.
Want, and I don't want to
Yeah.
lose any money based on some silly decisions
Yeah.
about a commercial that I don't care about anyway.
Right. Right. Okay. On that note, we got to get out of here. We are
Module Pitts
Myron Pitts.
and Marshall Pitts. I think he'll be back with us next week.
I
and
do
we
believe
are
so. MP3.
MP3.
Have a great